Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Zero to Empire podcast. On this episode, I have Craig Bumate, and he's actually a life and career coach, and he's going to be he's going to be telling his story and how he actually got into coaching today. So, Craig, welcome to the podcast, and can you actually explain to us what was your backstory on becoming a coach today?
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I appreciate the opportunity to join you today and share my story and insights. So, I wasn't always a life and career coach or business coach. I started my career on the corporate track. I'm a certified public accountant. I worked for over 10 years with Ernst& Young, serving both public and private companies, largely in the financial services sector, but had a lot of experience working with both public and private companies, um, but also building, coaching, training, developing high performing individuals and teams with a focus on career development and advancement. And then after about 13 years in public accounting, I decided to move on from that and work for a Fortune 500 broker dealer investment advisor as a VP for a couple years in the finance and accounting department, and then launched my own business, which is what I do full time today, about 2 years ago. So that's a little bit of kind of my career backdrop and evolution to coaching.
That's solid. Was there any specific moments or like things that happened that made you walk away from your corporate finance career?
Yeah, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly one thing. I think a lot of times in life, you try to go back and what is that pivot point? What is that inflection point? For me, I knew growing up, kind of in my younger years, that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start my own business. I was exposed to that growing up. My father had his own management consulting business. I met other entrepreneurs through him, and that was kind of in the late 90s, early 2000s when there were a lot of tech IPOs and tech boom, companies going public. So that was always in the back of my mind, but I had this limiting belief that I, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a product creator. So what kind of business am I going to start? And then I had the epiphany that my background, my expertise, my gifts, my talents is more in the client serving realm and helping other people, really what I say, kind of start living, right? Ditch the someday mentality that I had, meaning a lot of people say to themselves, like me, someday I'll start my own business, someday I'll write a book, someday I'll figure out what I'm passionate about. The problem with that attitude is someday never shows up unless you take action. So, I got to the point that there's a quote by Jim Rohn that I think was pivotal, just kind of thinking about what I want my legacy to be, what I want my impact to be, how I can have a greater impact on other people's lives with the time that I have here, which is not guaranteed, but I was living like it was. The quote is, we must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of regret or the pain of discipline. The difference is the pain of discipline weighs ounces, the pain of regret weighs tons. And that had me thinking, if I stay on the path that I'm on, yeah, it's safe, it's secure, it allows me to live a comfortable life, provide for my family, but there's got to be more to that. I don't want to be asking myself in 20, 30 years, what if? What if I had bet on myself? What if I had stepped outside my comfort zone? Where would I be if I had started my own business and really done what I think I was put here to do, and create kind of a lasting impact for not only myself and my family, but future generations.
Oh yeah, the what if question is definitely holding a lot of us back, and I'm glad that you took action to make that happen.
Yeah.
And how did your experience as a CPA actually shape your approach to coaching leaders today?
Yeah, so obviously I have the business career background, whether it's a business owner who's maybe struggling with trust issues to hire employees to help grow and scale, or just operational bottlenecks and inefficiencies. I think my ability to kind of look at a business not only through a financial lens and perspective and identify blind spots and missed opportunities, or what is kind of sucking the financial resources, because a lot of people, maybe they grow top line revenue but the bottom line doesn't change. So ultimately there's not more profitability there. So I think having that solid business background, being able to see other companies from the inside out across multiple different departments, not only finance and accounting, but legal, regulatory, the sales folks, marketing. So that gives me kind of the ability to come in and help business owners. And then on the the professionals, people that work for other companies, because I did that for 15 years myself, I relate to the challenges and kind of that setting as well, in terms of progressing, feeling like you need to prove yourself, climb the corporate ladder, manage other people, deal with stressful environments and bosses and all of that. So I think that background helps me really try to step in the shoes of my clients and see things from their perspective, but also provide, my own unique perspective that's not biased, because I had mentors and coaches and sponsors in a corporate setting, but there's always this bias. And being one myself, if I was working with a high performer on my team, I'm inherently biased to keep them on my team, on my client engagement, even if they're coming to me expressing they want to try a different service line, or they want to get exposure to a different industry or client. So that's what I like about coaching, is I'm really independent. I'm in my client's corner. I like to refer to myself as their dream and goal manager, because I want nothing else other than to help them realize their dreams on a faster timeline with less stress than they would be doing it on their own.
Yeah, that's very important. And when it comes to the common invisible scripts you see in high achievers, what are they?
Yeah, kind of the invisible scripts, meaning what's holding them back, or
Yes.
yeah. So I think the really successful people understand that fear is a necessary part of life, and that the sooner we kind of accept that and embrace that and use that as fuel and get comfortable being uncomfortable and letting discomfort guide us and be our compass on the path forward, that's really when you start to see the exponential growth. I think the key to success is you've got to have the mindset and the attitude, the desire to get better and to step outside your comfort zone, and not only master the positive internal self-talk and build that confidence, because most people have some kind of limiting belief or self-doubt around, I'm not capable enough, I'm not experienced enough, I'm not old enough, or I'm too old, some kind of version of imposter syndrome or a desire to be more confident. But honestly, time doesn't time doesn't really heal that. It's not like just magically next year you've got 5-10 years of experience under your belt and everything clicks, right? It doesn't quite work that way. So it's those people that have the mindset of, I want to get better and I want to seek out that constructive criticism, other points of view, and embrace that to get better and improve their weaknesses, turn them into strengths.
Very important to identify those and yeah, just make sure you work on them and get it or get it fixed so that it can actually turn into a strength, like you say. And so, how do you actually help people rewrite the stories they've accepted as truths for years?
Yeah, so a lot of my work focuses around frame of mind, which is effectively your mindset, right? Your higher level thoughts, beliefs, attitudes. And this can take a lot of time, right? It's not like you just have one session with me or you go to a therapist one time and you're instantly cured. So my job is to help people align with their goals and dreams, align with success, because I think as most people have heard and have kind of accepted or figured out on their own, hard work is a requirement, but that doesn't guarantee success in of itself. So I help people align with their goals, remove the resistance, remove the hesitation. Let's identify what is that limiting belief? What is that fear that's holding you back, that's keeping you stuck? And how can we shift that? How can we reframe it? How can we remove and replace and upgrade that thought with a more positive one? And it kind of starts with the identity and who you want to become. So I'm a big proponent of identity based goal setting, legacy based goal setting, meaning what lasting impact do you want to have, right? Think about you're at your funeral and you're observing it as a third party. What do you want people to say about you? What do you want them to remember you for? What kind of impact do you want to have that hopefully goes on and outlives your lifetime and continues to have a positive influence on the lives of future generations? And I think that starts with identity too, because a lot of people set goals or New Year's resolutions, but they don't stick. They don't last. And why is that? Because it's kind of arbitrary. They're setting a target, maybe it's losing a certain number of pounds or saving a certain amount of money, but there's not a deeper attachment association to why that really matters. So if someone's setting a health goal, it's like I like to ask them, okay, who do you want to become? What's the identity of the person, the healthier version of yourself that you want to become, right? Is it you want to have energy at the end of the day to play with your kids? That to me is kind of like an identity statement that I would help them craft on their own that empowers them to keep going and to push through when obstacles arise. And it's not if, it's when. But if you just have this arbitrary target of losing X pounds, it's too easy to give up at the sign of difficulty or temptation. And I think as humans, we were wired for survival rather than wired for success, meaning fear is a defense mechanism. We don't like to get outside our comfort zone to push ourselves to the boundaries or figure out what our boundaries are by pushing past what we think is capable. So that's where I start a lot of times is the mindset and how can we reframe that limiting belief, that fear, that self-doubt that's keeping you stuck, and replace that and upgrade that mindset so that you're aligned with your goal, with your target, and we remove that resistance, meaning there's 100% certainty in your mind that you're going to achieve your goal. Not 80%, not 95%, 100%. And it may be that I may get you that way one day, and then you may go back down to 90, 80, 70% the next week, the next month, right? So it's kind of a constant realignment process that may be required on an ongoing basis, which is kind of one of the reasons why coaching and having that ongoing support and accountability to implement and execute is so vital.
Oh yeah, accountability and confidence, the duo definitely helps get things done, and it's great that you do that with your clients. And when it comes to your clients, who ideally are they, and what kind of transformation do they usually see within your program that you go about with them?
Yeah. So my ideal clients, going back to the mindset that we were just talking about, are saying to themselves, I want to get better. I want to be the best at blank, fill it in, right? Whatever profession is, their field, their industry. But it's not just about my ideal client wants to get better in all aspects of life. It's not just I want more money or I want this title or promotion. It goes deeper than that. So the people that I work with and attract are people that have big, scary, audacious goals and dreams in multiple aspects of their lives. They're not only their professional lives, but their personal lives. So I'm helping them set and achieve goals to better their health and wellness, to expand and grow and develop in their career or their business, but also in their relationships, grow their confidence, and even a faith or a spiritual component, because that's important to me as well. So the people that I like working with and helping kind of set goals in multiple areas of their life and are really looking for transformation, growth, and change in more than one area. If someone's just, single focused on one thing and they just want to meet with me one or two times or for a month, that's not my ideal client.
Yeah, that's totally fair. You got to branch out and go to the other pillars. And when it comes to your client stories, can you actually share one of them that showed like a ripple effect that you're talking about today?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I was working with a client who was in kind of stuck, trapped in a 9 to 5 job, was with a well-known, reputable company. It was safe and secure, but his dream was to fast track building his own real estate empire and breaking free from the corporate grind. And within 6 months of working together, not only did he leave his job, successfully launch his business, he also created successful and sustainable habits in his fitness, in his nutrition. He improved relationships with family and friends. He started reprioritizing things that mattered to him and really managing his schedule to create the freedom and the flexibility that he desired. And now I caught up with him recently, and his goals are to basically get to 6 figures a month in his business. He's grown into different areas, new partnerships and relationships. So that's just, he's just getting started. And that's going to transform everyone that he touches. Like his kids, when he has them, his wife when he gets one, right? But like that, he's transformed his trajectory, and that's going to rub off on everyone that he comes into contact with. Now he's got that confidence, that self-belief that he can accomplish things that once seemed impossible.
Yeah, I love that story. And I'm glad that he's having that success and that he's made those changes due to your help. And tell us about your book that you're writing and how is it actually shaping your thought leadership?
Yeah, so my book is centered around, it's not finished yet. I'm in the editing stages of it, but it's been an exciting journey and something that's pushed me to really grow and stretch and step outside my comfort zone myself. But the book is centered around how to successfully navigate career transitions with less stress. And it could be applied in a couple different scenarios, right? So it's not just targeted to corporate professionals that want to transition into starting their own business or buying a business, although that is a demographic that it will resonate with and that I authentically attract, given my own personal experience and journey myself making that transition a few years ago. But it could also be just individuals that want to continue to reach new heights, to level up in their in their careers, in their businesses, but also on a personal level. And it's got a very, deep undertone in terms of faith and the role that that plays. And faith means a lot of different things to different people. That could be faith in yourself and growing that internal confidence that we talked about. That could be faith in God or a higher spiritual being. For me, that personally gives me comfort and peace, knowing that my creator, my savior, has a master plan for me, and it's not solely on my shoulders to figure out, because we're not perfect. We're far from it. We're flawed, right? But I think centering around faith, that for me personally has boosted my confidence and has helped me not only take that first step, but continue to take that step every day and really remind myself, what's the lasting impact that I want to have? And as you know, a lot of businesses don't make it past the first year or two. So that's why you have to have clear vision and clarity on what is your mission? What is your long-term legacy that you're building?
Yeah, it's important to have the future in mind and legacy. And when it comes to where people can find you and reach out to you if they would like you to be their coach, how can they do that or where?
Yeah, so I'm most prevalent on LinkedIn. My handle is at Craig Bumatay, so my name, CraigBumatay, all one word. I'm also on a few other platforms as well, though: Instagram, Facebook, Threads. My email, you can email me and I'll add you to kind of my monthly email newsletters with tips and tricks on how to be more successful and create better habits that are going to get you to where you want to go. So my email is craig@craigbumate.com. My website is craigbumate.com. So pretty much if you remember my name, you'll be able to find me. I've got a Google business profile where you can go look at testimonials and reviews from past clients. And when the book gets published later this year, it'll be on Amazon. So you can check that out as well.
That's solid. So thank you for being on the podcast. Go check out his book when it comes out and feel free to contact him as well to get him as your coach. And thank you everyone for watching or listening in for Zero to Empire. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Sam. It was a lot of fun.